Start. How many have joined? Good afternoon, everyone. After a few days, I am again taking the class because of that lockdown. We couldn't take the class. I hope you are all well. You are all safe, staying at home. So let's continue. We had not completed. We are continuing with the enemy. So far, we had completed in page number 42 that I have marked in my book. I feel that you will be agreed with me. Okay. Yes. Thank you, everyone. Good afternoon. And how are you? Yes, Ananda, I am fine. I feel you are all fine. So let's continue with the text. Open page number 42. Vistas. We are reading the enemy. Now, last day we completed here that Dr. Sadao had gone to the army general and they had made a plan. The army general's plan was that he told Sadao he would send two of his assassins, means murderers, to his house. They would come and they would kill the man, okay, and they would take the body, they would remove the body. This was the plan. After making the plan, Sadao came back to his house. Up to this we completed. So let's start. I am reading from page number 42. Open page number 42. I will read from there that Sadao slept by the middle of this page. Sadao slept badly that night. Time and time again he woke, thinking he heard the rustling of footsteps, the sound of a twig broken or a stone displaced in the garden, a noise of such as men might make who carried a burden. Now, as the plan, as the army general told that he would send two of his assassins, murderer, to his house. So, whenever Sadao was sleeping at night, she did not have a sound sleep, deep sleep that night, because every now and then, time and again, as if she heard a sound outside, because he was very much conscious that night the murderer would come to his house, and he was very much excited that the murderer would come and they would kill the man and they would remove his body. So, as if Sadao could hear the rustlings of footsteps. Here rustling means sound. The sound of a twig broken, as if a twig means a branch of the garden has been broken, or the stone has been replaced in that garden, and as if the sound seems that somebody is carrying a burden, as if Sadao thought that as if the murderer had come and they had murdered the white man and they were carrying the dead body, as if Sadao could listen, okay, and for this he could not see properly that night. The next morning he made the excuse to go first into the guest room. The next morning, early in the morning, he went very quickly to the guest room where the American was sleeping. If the American were gone, he then could simply tell Hannah that the general had directed. Beforehand, we know that Dr. Sadao had not told anything about the plan to his wife Hannah, because he thought that Hannah might be very much afraid with the thinking that murderers would come in their house. So, he had not told anything about the plan to Hannah. So, he thought that if he could not find the American in his room, it means that night the murderer had come and they had taken him, then he would tell everything to Hannah. He would tell about the plan to Hannah. But when he opened the door, he saw at once that there on the pillow was the saggy blonde head. But immediately when he opened the door, he found that the man was sleeping. Here saggy means hairy. Saggy means hairy. He found the hairy head of the white man on the pillow, means the man was sleeping and the hairy head was on the pillow, means nothing had happened to the man in the previous night. So, what Sadao had heard the sound, it was only the creation of his imagination. There was no actually any sound there, as he was conscious that that night assassins or murderer would come to his house. So, these are the creation of his imagination. Nobody had come and the man, the white American, was sleeping. He is asleep, he told Hannah. He is almost well to sleep like that, and he came back, and in that breakfast table he told Hannah that he is sleeping. The man was sleeping. Still, he did not tell anything about the plan to Hannah. What shall we do with him? Hannah whispered her old refrain. Here, refrain means the line that is being repeated time to time, being repeated time to time. See, in a poem or in a song, there are few lines are there that are repeated in almost every stanza, or almost every stanza. This is refrain. So, here Hannah told this refrain. Why it is told as refrain? Because Hannah had asked this question many times to Dr. Sadao. Here also Hannah asked this, what shall you do with him? Sadao shook his head. Sadao just shook his head. I must decide in a day or two, he promised. And he promised, yes, in a day or two I must decide what to do. Because Sadao knew that in a day or two the murderers must come and they would kill the man. Then he would tell everything to Hannah. But certainly he thought the second night must be the night. Yes, first night nobody came. So Sadao thought second night must be the night. Must be the night means the murderers must come on the second night, next night, and they would kill the man and they would take the dead body with them. There rose a wind that night, and he listened to the sounds of bending boughs and whistling partitions. That night, next night actually, there was a wind, and he could listen that partitions were being whistles is making sounds, and the boughs, the branches of trees are getting lowered by the wind. Hannah woke too, and by this sound, as a storm was going on outside, so Hannah also woke. Ought we not go and close the sick man's partition? She asked. Now, after waking up, Hannah actually told Dr. Sadao that we must go and close the partition of the man. Remember, the army general told Sadao that you must keep the partition of that room of the man open. The partition means the door with which they could go to the garden. So, the army general told this to Dr. Sadao that you must keep the partition open, so that the murderers could enter his room without any hazards. So, when Hannah also woke up and heard the sound of the wind, the storm outside, now Hannah told this to Sadao that we must go and close the partition of that man's room. No, Sadao said. Sadao told no. He is able now to do it for himself. Sadao had given the excuse because Sadao did not want to close the partition, because according to the plan, through that partition the murderer would come, and Hannah did not know about the plan. So, Sadao told no, and he actually had given the excuse that the man is well enough to go by his own and close the partition. But the next morning the American was still there. So, after 2 nights American was still there. Nobody came in the next night also. Sadao was also very much anxious, very much excited, but nobody came the next night also. Then the third night, of course, must be the night. So, Sadao thought, yes, must be the night, third night. First 2 nights nobody came. According to the plan, murderers should come to murder the man, and they would take their body. But in the 2 days, 2 nights, nobody came. So, Sadao thought must be the next night. The wind changed to quiet rain, and the garden was full of the sound of dripping eaves and running springs. Next night it was raining, and as if, what is the meaning of these? That was full of sound of dripping eaves. Eaves means the part of the roof that meets or overhangs the wall of a building. Here water was dripping down the roof. This is known as dripping abyss. Water was dripping down the roof. It was raining, rain had fallen on the roof and it is falling from the roof. This has been told as dripping abyss. And these rain had made a springs. Here spring means a small river, as if the rain had made a small river in the garden. So it was raining cats and dogs outside. Sadao slept a little better, but he woke at the sound of a crash and leaped to his feet. Now Sadao was sleeping a little better that day, that night, because he was very much confirmed that on that night the murderer must come. And he woke up because he heard a crash, he heard a sound of a crash and leaped on his feet, jumped on his feet. He just stood up. What was that? Hannah cried. Hannah also heard this sound, and Hannah also very much surprised. There was a sound outside that somebody was crashing, something has happened outside. The baby woke at her voice and began to wail. Wail means cry. The baby also woke, and the baby also started to cry. I must go and see. And now Hannah was about to get out of the room to see where from the sound was coming. And Dr. Sadao was confirmed that this night the murderer had come and the sound had been made by them. So if Hannah would go outside and see the murderers, then she would shout, and that would be a problem for them. So what Sadao had told. But he held her and would not let her move. But when Hannah was about to go out of the room to see where from the sound had come, Sadao did not allow Hannah to go. See, actually he held his wife and did not allow her to go. Don't go, Sadao, she cried. What is the matter with you? At this Hannah told Sadao, what is the matter with you? Why you did not allow me to go and see where from the sound was coming? Don't go, he muttered. Don't go. Sadao told Hannah, don't go. Don't go, as if Sadao was very much afraid. Don't go to see. Don't go, because Sadao knew that the sound must have come from the murderers. His terror infected her and she stood breathless, waiting. As if Sadao was very much terrified at the sound, and he forbade Hannah to go and see. So this fear as if infected Hannah. So Hannah also became very much afraid of, okay, and she was standing and breathless. She also did not go outside. There was only silence. Together they crept back into the bed, the baby between them, and both of them again they lied down on their bed, and the baby was in between them. Means Hannah also lied down, Sadao also lied down. They did not go outside. Yet when he opened the door of the guest room in the morning, there was a young man. So next day, means after the 3 nights, after they had made the plan with the army general, 3 nights had passed. That night, next morning, when he opened the door, the guest room in the morning, there was the young man. Sadao again saw the young man was there. So the sound might be from something else. Sadao was confirmed that that might be the sound from the assassins, but assassins did not come that night also. He was very gay and had already washed and was now on his feet. Here gay means happy. The white American was happy and had already washed. He had taken his bath and now on his feet, and he was standing. He had asked for a razor yesterday and had shaved himself, and today there was a faint color in his cheeks. And last day the American asked for a razor for shaving his beard, and that morning Sadao saw that the man had shaved clean and he was looking very clean, looking very fresh, and the color in his cheeks means just pinkish color was getting back. This color suggests that the man is getting well. I am well, he said joyously, and saying Dr. Sadao, the man told, I am well, means he is getting well. Okay, he shaved himself properly, he had taken his bath, he was looking very bright, and he was telling that I am getting well. Sadao drew his kimono round his weary body. Kimono means the outer garment. Sadao went near the man and he just helped him to wear the kimono properly. He could not, he decided suddenly, go through another night. 3 nights had passed after making this plan. So Sadao decided no, he was not going to wait for another night. It was not that he cared for the young man's life. No, simply it was the oath, the strain. It was not why Sadao could not wait for another night. Because it was not for the white man's life. He did not care for the white man's life. That he knew that a murderer would come and kill the man. But 3 nights he waited as per the plan from the army general. But after the 3 nights, after the 3rd night, he no longer wanted to wait anymore. Why? Because he could not take the stress. Simply it was not oath, the strain. Strain means stress. He could not take the stress. Every night he remained in utmost stress. Okay, he remained utmost tensed. That night should be that night should be the night when the murderer would come. 3 nights he waited, nobody came. So Sadao decided he is not going to wait for another night. You are well, Sadao agreed. Sadao told the white American, you are well. He lowered his voice and just in a low voice, you are so well that I think if I put my boat on the shore tonight with food and extra clothing in it, you might be able to row to the little island not far from the coast. So Sadao changed the plan. Sadao told the white American that you are well, and he told that Sadao had his boat. He told that tonight he would arrange the boat in the seashore, and he told the white American that you would row the boat. With the help of the boat, you must go to the nearby island. Means Sadao here helping the man to escape from his house with the help of his boat. Okay, because Sadao is not ready to wait for another night when the assassin would come and kill. Okay, he told the man that I am not going to. He did not told anything. He told that you are well enough, and he told the man that with the help of his boat he must go to the nearby island. Okay. It is not so. It is so near that the coast that it has not been worth fortifying. Fortifying means putting security at a place. Dr. Sadao told the man that the island he was talking about was so near the coastal area that no security is over there. Okay. So no putting any security, any security was there. So it would be very easy for the white American to reach to that island that Sadao told the American. Nobody lives on it because in storm it is submerged. The island is not inhabited by anyone. Nobody lives in the island because in the stormy time, in the rainy time, it's submerged. It gets drowned in the water. But this is not the season of storm. This is not the rainy season. So you could go there in the island. You could live there until you saw a Korean fishing boat pass by. They passed quite near the island because the water is many fathoms deep there. So Sadao told this plan to the white American. He suggested that with the help of my boat, you must go to the nearby island. You would wait there. Then from the island, you would get a Korean boat pass by the island. Whenever you would get that Korean boat, you just with the help of Korean boat, you could go out of Japan, and from there you could go back to your native country, that is America. Okay, and he told the Korean boat actually pass very near to that island because here the water is many fathoms deep. Here fathom is the unit for measuring the depth of water. Okay, fathom is the unit of measuring the depth of water. So Dr. Sadao told this plan to the white American, and he encouraged the white American that with the help of his boat he must go to the nearby island. From there he would live there, and from there he would be able to catch a Korean boat, and that with the help of this Korean boat he could go outside of Japan. The young man stared at him, slowly comprehending. Comprehending means understanding. The man looked at Sadao and was trying to understand what the man was telling. Do I have to? He asked. Afterwards he told, do I have to? Means amakei korte hobe eta? I think so, Sadao said gently. Sadao told, yes, I think. You understand, it is not hidden that you are here? Sadao told, yes, it is not hidden fact that you are here. So far you would remain in our house, it would be a problem for me. That is why I am telling you that with the help of my boat, you must go escape from my house. The young man nodded in perfect comprehension. Then the young man understood what the doctor wanted him to do. Okay, he said simply, he told okay. Sadao did not see him again until evening. So, that it was the plan made in the morning. Until evening he did not meet with the man. As soon as it was dark, he had dragged the stout boat down to the shore, and in it he put food and bottled water that he had brought secretly during the day, and as well as 2 quilts he had brought at a pawn shop. Now, during the day, Sadao had brought bottled water and packet food for the man. Not only that, he also bought 2 quilts, okay, 2 quilts, and that he bought from a pawn shop. What is pawn shop? A shop that lends money in exchange of valuable things. That is pawn shop, a shop that lends money in exchange of valuable things. So, he brought 2 quilts. Quilts means in Bengali we know lep, jeta শীতকালে আমরা গায়ে দিই. So, he brought 2 quilts, bottled water, packet food for the white American, and he stuffed all this in the boat. In the evening, what he told, in the evening, it was when it was dark, he had dragged means pulled the stout boat. Stout means fat or big, yet strong boat. He just pulled his strong boat to the seashore, and he stopped. Already he had stopped during the day. He had stopped the boat filled the boat with the bottled water and packaged food and quilts that he had bought for the white American. The boat he tied to the post in the water, and there was a pole in the water. He just tied the boat, for the tide was high, and this time the tide was high. There was no moon, and he walked without a flashlight. So, Dr. Sadao had pulled the boat into the seashore. This is the final time, the final arrangement he was doing for escaping the white man. He told the white man that with the help of this boat, you must go to the nearby island. From there, you could catch a Korean boat, and with the help of that Korean boat, you must go away from Japan. So, he was doing this. He was giving the final touch to help the white American. He just made all the arrangements. He had taken his boat to the seashore in the evening. There was no moon in the sky, and he was doing all in the darkness without any flashlight or torch, because any flashlight might arouse the doubt of any other people. When he came back to the house, he entered as though he was just back from his work, and after doing all this work, he came back casually as he comes regularly, okay, as if he comes from work. He did not tell anything to Hana, and so Hana knew nothing. He did not tell anything to Hana that I had made the plan, I am helping the man to escape and all this. Yumi was here today, she said as he served his supper. Hana was giving Dr. Sadao his food, and while he was giving his dinner, supper means here dinner, Hana told Dr. Sadao that Yumi, remember Yumi, who used to, the nanny of that children, actually who used to look after the children, she came that day. Hana told this to Sadao, that Yumi came that day. Though she was so modern, till she did not eat with him. Though this is the custom of Hana, that he was giving food only to Sadao, and she was not taking food of her own, because this is a custom. In front of Sadao, she did not eat. She waited for Sadao to finish his food, then she would take food. So, she was only giving food to Sadao. Yumi cried over the baby. She went with a sigh. She misses so. And she told Sadao that Yumi was crying so much, and Yumi was missing the baby so much, because she loved the baby so much. The servants will come back as soon as the foreigners is gone, Sadao said. Sadao told, yes, as soon as the foreigners would come, not only Yumi, all the servants, the cook, the gardener, they would all come, Sadao told, because Sadao knew this is the night, this is the night when the American would escape from his house. So, afterwards everybody would come to know that the prisoner had escaped from his house, and the servant would come back. Up to this, I hope you have completed sorry, you have understood? Have you understood? Do you have any queries? You may ask question. Okay, thank you. So, it's goodbye from my side. Next class we will definitely complete this story.